What's up, everybody? This is Kurt H. I'm the Lazy Farmer. How you doing? So, yeah, we're back into another episode of Run 8. I am hanging out here. I'm in the UP River Yard, which is kind of on the other side of oh my goodness, what was it? I just drew. Oh, here I am. I'm doing this, and I just, like, completely drew a blank. It's by you. It's by BNSF's LAJ A Yards. It is on the other side. Give me a minute here. Looking for that information. Man, I've dropped. Why am I not remembering? This is not a good start. Oh, UP East LA Yard. So, yep, running the 1379 that you see right there. Working the YLA51. So let's jump into this. I am gonna go free fly here. Get away from the noise. You guys might be able to hear me a little bit better. All right. Anyway, so we got a nice cut of cars sitting over here. That's the BNSF LAJ yard on the other side of the LA River. And here's the UP East LA yard here, which is intermodal yard. I am on the SRS server. Come play. I mean, we're starting to get more and more members on. I know I've kind of taken a break, guys. I apologize. Not really. I mean, I'm enjoying Flight Simulator, and I'm now teaching somebody how to do Tower Simulator. So I am hoping to get some, if we can get some more people for Tower Simulator, get some recordings of multiplayer on Tower Simulator. So the aviation side of things I'm getting into, and now I'm here back to Run 8, and I am looking for a shipping simulator. I'm looking for something that's going to meet the same standard as Run 8 and Tower Sim and Microsoft Flight Sim. So I'm also looking at X-Plane as well too. X-Plane, if I do that, it's because I've got so much money invested into um, Flight Sim, Microsoft, that I don't want to walk away from it. But I think I might use X-Plane for general aviation. So anything I do with GA, it's going to be on X-Plane is where I'm leaning toward. So what I'm looking at as I'm flying over, this is the Union Pacific. Oh, I had it backwards. I apologize, guys. This is the Union Pacific Weeds Yard over here. And I want to be more clear that these two tracks right here are the main line. This is the Weeds Yard. This is the UP East LA Yard. But it is the intermodal yard because you got the intermodal ramps over there. So I think, and I was looking at this going, you know what? I think we're going to have to maybe dive into getting some intermodal stuff going um, on the SRS. So if somebody wants to jump in and just drive a train, intermodal might be the way to do it. So um, place something like up in Yermo and then come down to here, then go back off of Yermo, and I gotta, I'm gonna talk to some of the powers that be. So there is a new DLC. I haven't done a recording on the new DLC because there's actually, and it's the, oh, I'm sorry, the new DLC is UP Fresno South. It finally closes that gap between Seco and Gobel. So here's Seco up here, and it used to be that this line for Union Pacific would stop right here, and then I'm going to jump over to Bakersfield, and here's Global up here. Okay, and same thing here. It used to stop here. So, like, we've got a train coming in here, would can go up and then go off the map and delete itself, and you'd almost have to set up a spawn point over on, go back to Mojave, over here on this side so that that train can continue. It was kind of a pain. And it wasn't because, and I'm going to state this because this is what was stated by the people that developed Run 8, and I think this goes back to version 1, correct me if I'm wrong, But it wasn't the fact that they were leaning toward BNSF over Union Pacific. They just decided to leave it out because no there's not a lot to do in that run. It's about what 60 to 80 miles of, well, I live in the area. It's 60 to 80 miles of a whole lot of nothing, to be honest with you. But there are four large grain elevator operations on it, and there are four locals, three of which, I think four or five. I have to go back and look at the documentation, and I'll do a recording on that. But it's, yeah, there's like four or five locals that work that area, but the majority of those locals come out of the Fresno yard, and one comes out of, well, basically comes out of the UP Bakersfield yard and only works a couple of industries. But the big thing is that there's some grain trains that come up that way, and um, will go into an industry, and of course all the cars go there, and then they get turned in, and you can send it right back off the map. Here's the issue, and I'm waiting to find out when I get an information back, because I did submit a ticket on it. If we spawn those grain trains, and let's see, I've got one, two, three, four, five people, six including myself. If the grain trains spawn on the Union Pacific, anywhere on here on the Union Pacific sub south, they will route into the sidings that have the grain facilities, the grain elevators, and relinquish. Okay, and it's not a simple drop a relinquish point. It's not an AI special locations point. It's a new thing that they added. And so if you spawn a train either in this block or this block down here, they'll get to where they need to go, and they'll pull in and they'll relinquish. Um, so there's a file. It is the train routing file that, and there's a new command in that file, and it works. Okay, as long as those trains are spawned on this particular DLC, this region. Okay, the DLCs are considered regions. So on this region, that's great, but they do have some trains that you can spawn in Bakersfield. If you just want to get up and run a train on that, you can spawn it in Bakersfield and drive it out, and that's fine. Okay, and Auto will route you into Famoso or into Tulare or Goshen or Traver. It'll be up to you to stop the train. We're looking at it on the server aspect of, well, if we have it, let's see, Barstow Yermo. So we have that grain train come on up here in Yermo and work its way across the maps over through Mojave and then down, down past Bakersfield here onto the sub, and then say it wants to get into Goshen or Tulare or Traver. Otto does his thing. He will route them in, but they will not relinquish. They will go right. So if you want to AI that train and then go do something else, and then when the train gets there, yeah, no, when you go back and look, you're going to find your train isn't there. You'll see the switches have been flipped, but the train's gone. So it doesn't stop. So I submitted a ticket, and just to ask the question, is that how it's intended, or what was their plan? If this is something going forward that maybe if this is something they can implement on all of the regions, then that opens up to a world of possibilities, and it might be a hint as to things that it might be coming. So, because I've heard some rumors, and I'm not going to talk about those. So anyway, let's get back to here. So I'll do a whole piece on the UP Fresno South, but it is really pretty. I will tell you this, it's a very pretty DLC. It's much prettier in Run8 than it is in real life. But it's kind of fun. You can work. You do have the grain trains that you can work. You've got locals that you can work, and it closes that gap. That's important. So that being said, we get trains that come in here to the weeds yard, That's from this track here to over here. Um, the Weeds Yard, and so you have the YLA70R that will get dropped here, and then you have the YLA51 that gets dropped here. Well, the YLA70R gets worked out of this yard and has some industries to the south and some to the north. But the 51 you need to bring, once it gets dropped, you need to basically bring it out. And there's really no easy way of doing this other than you gotta, bring it out, go past these lights here and these switches, bring it to a stop on the main line, and then back it up off the main line this way. I'm sorry about the stutter, guys, but I'm using my rail driver to move. So, and I got on ludicrous speed. You'll see that later. Just it's better, honestly. So anyway, and then I have this switch flipped red right now because I'm basically coming on and off. So the YLA 51 has industries down here, over here, over here, and then, but you continue on this route over here into the UP River Yard. And that's where the YLA 51, you bring it over here and then you work it out of this yard here. So, and so we have, let's see, go back over here. So, and part of those industries, we got industries sitting here, one here, and then we go back in here as well too. So I got a bunch, and I got a bunch of cars we'll be pulling out, and I'm just going to record however long this takes. I think my minimum recordings are going to be 2 hours. I might go a little bit longer. So also I've been laid up. That's why I haven't. Another reason why I haven't done a lot of content. I threw out my back, and we'll see how long it goes, how long I can sit here. So that's another part of it. So I'm going to try to give you the best I got today. Bear with me. If it comes up a little bit short, I apologize now. You can hate me later. All right, here we go. Let's get on the ground. So I just brought this one in. This is going to be the first set. This is all one industry. Let me pull my map up so I can see the names. This is going to be off. Oh, no, I don't want that one. I want. Where are you? Oh, this is going to be, I think it's San Pedro branch. Yes. So cereal food processors is this one. This will be the first one. I think I've got others in line here for Southland Box, Scott Sales, San Pedro Cold Storage. But what I need to do is I brought these over with a pair of locomotives. So I doubled up the locomotives to drag this whole consist over here. And then once I got it over here, based upon how I need to service the industries, I've split the locomotives into individuals, and I'm running them as individuals, but I'm going back and forth. And so I just finished bringing these over here when I said, hey, I need to do a recording because I haven't done a recording in a while. So let's go ahead and set the brake on that. And I need to back up a little bit, take the stretch force off that coupler. Alright, let's go forward. And I'm going to go ahead and... So my plan is all my pickups are going to get set out on this middle track here. That's my plan. Here's a problem though, and then bring my other locomotive down and hook into this because that's how I need to bring it. But I got a problem. I do have a problem. I wasn't thinking. Yeah, I'm going to show you my problem, and this one takes a lot of forward thinking. So I worked the other night. I pulled this over here and I worked this one. This is the easiest, quickest, simplest. This is BAK is the industry. I can't remember. Let me see. No. I'm looking. Bear with me. And the reason I don't know these off the top of my head, to be honest with you, is simply because don't um, I don't normally work the LA yards. This is stepping out of my comfort zone. Okay, Baker Commodities. The symbol is BAK. This is Baker Commodities over here. So quick and easy, they're right off the yard here. So I went and worked them first, and they were on the head end, and they had one pickup which I set out right here. It's in the way because I need to grab this locomotive and come down this track. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I was going to disconnect. I did, well, sorry, my voice is now starting to go. Let me get some water here. You know, I'm working without coffee too. So, yeah, I've been, you might see some advertisement for coffee. I'm now an affiliate on YouTube, so I have the opportunity to do that. And since I talk about, I got to have coffee all the time, I'm going to start trying to sell some coffee, and I can do like Black Rifle coffee. There was another one that I was touting, which was Black Owl coffee, and I was drinking Morning Reaper. I have stopped doing that, not because the coffee's bad, it's because the pods are bad. They will not, they will not puncture when I put them in my Keurig. So if they're not going to work for me, then I'm not going to, suggest that you invest in it. So, but I'll do some like Black Rifle coffee because it supports the troops and with everything that's going on. I want to support the troops. All right, there's my advertisement. And then of course, if you do purchase, I think there's a discount, and it helps the channel. And you also buy coffee. When you buy the coffee, you do send coffee. The company will send coffee to the troop over there. Somebody over there will get some free coffee as well. So, all right, what am I drinking? The other thing I'm drinking, and I think I can do this one, but I'm not gonna. Oh, actually, I think I can. This is a strong one. This is Bustelo. I'm gonna drink some Cafe Bustelo espresso blend, and that's gonna keep me up all day and all night. Okay. Wait for that to brew. Do I have anything in that cup from yesterday? I don't want it to overflow. Oh, I do. Hang on. All right. Oh, that was better. That helped my throat better than water did. Okay. Let's get to work here. Stop goofing off. I'm gonna go partial. I'll do this periodically, and I will also periodically just hit the F7 button just to kind of expedite things. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this train out, and then I'll bring the other locomotive down. And I have to do it in such a way so if I connect well, I could actually do that. Just connect the air locomotive to this consist, but I'd rather leave one of them behind. I did consider. Yeah, I know. I did consider leaving, putting a local on one side of the whole cut of cars, and having a locomotive at each end. and then running around doing that. And I just said, nah, I'd rather do small little chunks. I did this the other day on my um, local version of Run8, and it went pretty smooth. But I do it a little bit different here on the SRS server. It was pre-sorted in the weeds yard. Okay, I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and bring this to a stop. I got plenty of room now. So yeah, no, I'm okay with that. It was let's go down here then. That does make life easier, and using order builder, you know, because on my personal one, um, I had mixed everything up, so not only did it had to be classified at West Colton, then I brought it down here, which is actually a pretty quick run to go from West Colton down to Weeds. But then when I got here, it was like it really was kind of a pain to have everything all mixed up, and I would spend my time in the weeds yard, you know, putting all the industries together. And then some of the industries like this one we're working, you got to get all the box cars together, all the hoppers together, all the tankers together. So it's like, yeah, I think next time I'm just going to keep all the customers together and just make my life a little bit easier. We'll see. I did have someone a while back ask about, can we, change the hump controller either at Barstow or Yermo, not, I'm sorry, Barstow or West Colton, and so you can pull the cars back around and then rehump them again so you can classify them by customer. My answer to that is, if you want to do that on your own single player, or if you're going to run your own server, that's fine. That's a server based restriction. On the SRS, we don't do that, and on the NorCal, Mosel, Pitts, AGS, and the Southeast, which are the servers that that I'm hosting. I'm going to tell you right now that those we don't do that. It causes issues in the hump controller. Um, yeah, and especially I think it's Mosel, the hump controller. There's something about that's a version one um, map, and which you have to convert to version 2 so that you can convert it to version 3. And somewhere in all that, the hump controller got kind of wigged out, and I've even noticing in um, some of the board um, listings and for the Depot Plus, that some people were still actually asking about it. Wait, what happened? I mean, on my train, I was humping, and all of a sudden my train wigged out and drove through itself, and so that might be a myriad of issues. It may be solid. I mean, who knows? But yeah, it's easier just to leave the hump controller if you don't own the server. Leave the hump controller alone. Just use it as it's intended. That's the whole point I'm going to get on that. All right, let's go ahead. So I've relinquished that train down there. Actually, I relinquished the locomotive. So I'm going to take this one now, and we're going to go ahead, since I now own this whole entire train, and I don't want the entire train. It is closed. We're going to open this coupler, and my intention is I'm going to run around and come down this track over here. Alright, and because I changed locomotives, I gotta reset my slow speed. I'm using slow speed on this. You'll see it up here at just under 10 miles an hour. Right about there is good. Track speed in here anyway is 15 miles an hour. You can, if you have a rail driver, you can set your rail driver to show track speed. Which is usually what I do. I just happened to see, I looked over and saw that it was set for train speed. I want it set for track speed. But in real world, when you're in a yard, track speed is 10 miles an hour as per my understanding. And someone out there might change my tune on that if those that actually work for Union Pacific or BNSF. And then of course that might even be a rule that is railroad specific as well. There might be a rule, and I haven't read through the rule book in a while, but some of the rules might be, well, if you're running light like I am right now, you can do 15, but if you have cars and the speed is 10, and there might be some areas where it's as low as 5. So, but what do I say all the time? This is your virtual model railroad. Run it as you see fit. If you want to do 55 miles an hour through the yard, that's up to you. You know, um, what I find, yes, I do play very casual. You're going to see that I hardly ever use my bell, hardly ever use my horn. Oh, there it is. Okay, that's a server thing. That little pause right there was a server save, and that's something that's been happening lately since this last update. Was it 24 or 26A? Whatever it is, there was, you had an update for there was an update for the new DLC, and then about 2 or 3 days later, there was another little small patch that came out. Here's the thing. Speaking of updates, this is something on Run8. So when you install Run8, if you don't have it on your computer and you're brand new to Run8 and you're trying to figure out, how do I update? How do I get these updates? I see the green button on when I launch. It says update available, but I click it, nothing happens. Or, I don't even use that button, to be honest with you. I use that button I use it as a warning, and that's it. Okay, and then if I see that button, oh, okay, let me close out, and then I will go into the folder, to the Run8 Train Simulator version 3 folder, and I stick the updater file in there, and I run that updater from that folder. The reason I do this, I've actually, was it on AGS? This is where this problem came up. That I clicked the green button, got the update, and then I went to go sign into my server. I updated the server, and I updated my single player, and where the hell did that go? And I kept getting a data mismatch. So if you see that error, that means that you're missing a file somewhere, either in your version of Run8 or it's on the server. But because before they go talking to each other, they want to make sure they have all the same files. Makes sense. So, and I'm like, well, I updated. I looked at it. I'm like, okay, server's updated. I updated my single player. Why is there a data mismatch? Well, then I ran that updater on both. Okay, my version that was on my personal computer, and then I ran it on the one that's on where my servers are at. And when I on both, well, on my personal one, it was 100% updated, but on the server, it was missing one file. That was it, just one file. And there was no green button, so I had to use the updater utility, and that updater utility just added that file, and I was good to go. So that was it. So I just say, if you see that green button at the top, just, honestly, just back out, close out Run8, close out your server, go into the file, run the updater. Now you can get the updater install off the Run8 website, and when you get that, you can run it. Don't blink. It installs it so fast. All it does is it's a copy and paste action is really what it is. They copied the file into an installer, and the installer just pastes it into the appropriate folder, and that's it. And it happens so fast that if you blink, you'll miss it. So anyway, all right. I'm coming to the end. And then what I want to do is I'm gonna back down the middle track. Yeah, I'll back down the middle track, and then I want to back the cars down the middle track into this locomotive that I'm on right now, and then I'll put the other locomotive on the track with the rest of the consist. And spring-loaded switch. That doesn't hurt anything. I can even do this while the train is going over it. In real life, you can't because the weight of the locomotive would prevent you from. Oh, knock my coffee. Maps just. I didn't know Maps was even up today. He might have been flying over my head over here as far, you never know. And you're going to see why I'm doing this. I haven't really explained as to why I'm doing this yet, but it's the way the industry's faced that and how I have to get there. So let me get these in there and I'll do a free fly over and show you as to why I am doing it this way. All right, first of all, we're going to do, actually I'm just going to hit, you can watch the hoses, F7 sheet. All right, everything's all connected and aired up. So now I just need to go flip some switches here. That one, I want to leave that the way it is. I want this train to come down here. So the pain is when I come back from these industries, I'm either going to be pushing the cars down this way or coming down this track and then backing in. But my thing is all my pickups are going to be at this end on the middle track. So, and eventually when I get everything all put away and all my pickups on that middle track, I'll be left with just the two locomotives, at which point I'll just reconnect them together and then grab those pickups and then go take them over to the weeds yard to where the road train can pick them up and take them back to West Colton. All right. No, I had it right. I want that one. That's what I want. So I am leaving. Well, let's see. I'm leaving for a day. So I was going to be getting. I have to go out of town to go see a doctor about my back. It's not good. I'm just going to say that it's not good. All right. Let's go notch 2. The thing about this, there's a pretty good size grade. I mean, it's not the biggest grade on the map, but it's a pretty good size grade where you might have to use a couple of extra notches to go. My voice is going. This started yesterday. Anyway, so anyway, the YLA51 is a heavy train. It's a heavy consist. The majority of the cars are loaded. So even moving it from the weeds yard over here, it made these two locomotives work, which is what they're supposed to do. Alright, so I'm going to bring this to a stop. Metal on metal braking. Yeah, see, I use GP40-2s on my... Okay, so on my personal game, what I do... Union Pacific are my road engines, okay, and I do this for a reason, and this is something you can do yourself if you want to organize it this way. But Union Pacific liveried locomotives are my road locomotives, and so even you don't have to have the big dogs, the 44s and the -9s, and you don't have to have them all the time. You can do a mixture. You can add a GP or an SD45 or an SD40 in that power set to achieve the horsepower per ton you're looking for. I use Southern Pacific, which was absorbed by the Union Pacific. Okay, this is to a stop, so I'm going to go ahead and tie the train down, and then I'm going to relinquish. So anyway, you can use Southern Pacific, or if you wanted, San Joaquin Valley Railroad is out here as well. San Joaquin Valley Railroad has track rights between Fresno. I know in this area where I live, between Fresno up through it used to be the tracks. So the tracks in the city of Los Banos, they're gone. But did I? Hopefully I have ownership of this. I think I forgot to click on it. Yeah, it says no train. That's a clue. I just jumped on it. There we go. Now I have ownership of it. So, but anyway, yeah, they used to go. It used to go from Fresno all the way through Merced County, heading over to, trying to think counties in order, but basically it heads over, goes through the mountain, went through the mountains, back onto Union Pacific rails, and then back up into the San Francisco Bay Area, up through the wine country, and Union Pacific used to go along the coast, and they still do. They got train, rails that go along the coast. They were a little more inland. And then the Arvin branch was supposed to be the San Joaquin Valley as well. Okay, come on, get a little bit closer so I can get on the steps. There we go. Reverse. So it was a pretty big concern. They made a bad decision. Yeah, they did. They made a bad decision, and the Arvin branch is all San Joaquin Valley Railroad, but they had made a bad business decision, and literally every single industry, they all got together, and they made a collective decision to get away from trucking by rail or sending out shipping by rail, and they went with trucking instead. So that's why there wasn't as much traffic coming through Merced County. And so because of that, the city of Los Banos said, "Okay, guess what? We're ripping up the tracks. We don't see that many trains anymore. We're ripping up the tracks." There's still one industry that is served by them. That's the farthest south point that they come, and then they have to find another way to get down here. So there are still some places. Genesee in Wyoming, I think, is the company that owns the San Joaquin Valley Railroad. So there's a livery pack. I think it's Divergent Clear Studios. I'm doing it off the top of my head, guys, but you can look it up. Do a Google search, and just look for San Joaquin Valley Railroad or Heart of Georgia pack for Run8, and you'll find it. It'll take you there, and that's what you can download it. It's a free download, and just follow their installation. It's basically a copy and paste over what's already in the files, in the train files, in the truck files, and then when you jump into your game, restart your game, and then you'll jump in, and instead of having that ugly black and dark blue with dark blue lettering San Joaquin Valley Railroad, you'll actually have the orange and black striped Genesee and Wyoming type livery, but for San Joaquin Valley, or for Heart of Georgia if you're in the southeast. Yeah, I'd stop for a minute. I'm on southeast or AGS, and I think it's southeast. So yeah, so it looks good. And you'll see. I think if you look at some of my past videos, you'll see that that's what I've done. Actually, I'm just gonna go all the way down. I need to back in, pull these in. Then I can jump over, and then we'll work these cars, and then we'll come back and do some more. All right, so leave a comment, man. How you guys doing? So obviously, same, as always. The obligatory plug. Give me a thumbs up. If you like the video, please give me that thumbs up. Subscribe. I've got to go back into the descriptions. I've been having. That's another reason why I haven't streamed in a while. I've had some computer issues. Thank you, Microshaft. Yes, Microshaft. Actually, I think I could work these CLOs when I get back. That'll be an easy one. That's, yeah. CLO. No, CPC. Next one I'm looking at this one here. CPC is not here. I gotta go look. Let's see where I gotta remember where CPC is at. All right. Neutral. Brakes on. Tied that train down. No wonder. I need to take maybe map or relinquish to one of my buttons on my. Actually, what does this do? Nothing. If I go free fly, I can go up this way, but I can't go down. So I think that button there is going to become, on my rail driver, will become a relinquish button. So I don't have to click, open up a menu, or go up here and click relinquish. I can just hit a button and you'll see relinquish up here. So I'm going to see if I have to set that. You know what I'm thinking about? Let's go rail driver. First thing I want is speed limit. I want to change my rail driver to speed limit. So I got track speed. Next thing I want to do is go to controls, rail driver, button mapping. Is there, let's scroll down, this is alphabetical. Is there a relinquish? There is, relinquish train. Nice. Go there, change, hit the button, there it is, and apply. So that was set to reset zoom. I don't think I just zoom with my mouse wheel, and I pretty much never really even touched that, so this is going to be good. So if I click that train, I now have it, and now it's relinquished. I like that. Okay, that works. As long as I don't accidentally relinquish as the train's moving. Yeah, that'd be something I would do. Okay, but anyway, let's go ahead and take this. Let's get back on the ground. I'm telling you, I think I've told my story in past videos. I'm going to tell the story again. Rail driver. I don't know why I waited. I really don't. So, all right, flip that switch so I can come back in. Actually, no, we're going to back up because when I come back, I'm going to go down this track so I can back in with all my pickups. Okay. Okay, reverse. Yep, it is showing track speed is 15 miles an hour. So I need to set slow speed again, release the brakes, release the hounds. Slow speed is one of the buttons on the rail driver. So I'm going to redo my my little notes and stuff. So you'll have the link to my Discord. I'll be changing that. So if you look at a previous video and gee, that link doesn't work anymore. Yeah, no, I updated the link. I do that every so often. Keep you guys on your toes. Okay, so we got a slight upgrade, about 0.1%. So I'm going to go 2 notches because these cars are loaded and get up to speed a little bit faster here. 7 miles an hour. We'll go 9.5. There we go. Slow speed set to 9.5. All right. He's coming. I can stop. The inertia should carry him the rest of the way. But you're going to see why I'm doing it this way in just a minute. And this is, with the way all the industries are set up, you kind of have to think about that. Okay, this switch I'm going to leave that way. This switch is set right because I'm going to go straight, so that's normalized. That's what I want. All right, we're going to go jump on the back of this train and push all the way back. All right, 2 notches. Here we go. There's another reason why on my single player I don't care. Okay, I could take the entire consist, but I'm going to show you here in a minute why I don't do that on and this is an example for all my other servers, but specifically here on the SRS, there's another reason why I don't do it. It's because we're going to come up to a point where this track is going to cross over 3 BNSF mainline. And in order to make that crossover, I have to, tone up auto, and so he can flip lights and all that good stuff. So my intention is to do that, be spot on, and do my tones the way I'm supposed to. But, you know me, the lazy farmer does his own thing sometimes. Let's see. Let's get into the correct... I don't want Bakersfield, no, I want Cajon. Cajon to San Bernardino. Hit tab to go there, and this is, I'm down, the yard and stuff I'm working is down in this area, but I'm looking because I want to see. Oh, dang it. That switch flipped. Hang on, I gotta pull forward. I wasn't paying attention. Well, actually, you know what? No, this works out just fine. You can get on the ground. Because I've got a small cut. This is... so let me show you what I'm talking about here. Let me get past this switch, which this is a manual throw switch right here. This one is CTC controlled. That's controlled by auto. I don't want to flip that one. I think I'll leave that one alone. All right, let's go ahead and stop the train. But I do want this one because I need to go straight. Because some of my industries for the YLA51 are down in this area. So, all right. So let's go free fly. Show you what I'm looking at here. So if I pick up cars that from industries, even though they're served by Union Pacific, you can set your industries up to be set up to go to being on BNSF rails. So, and this will allow the example, but you'll see what I'm talking about here. So basically, I pick up a car, and if that car has a 2-letter tag on it, it's going to stay on the Union Pacific network. So a 2-letter tag would be BK for Bakersfield. So, but if I pick up a car from an industry and it has a 3-letter tag, that's going to go over to BNSF. Okay. So if I pick up a car tag from here, and we're going to keep an eye out, and then if you guys see it and I don't mention it, you can drop a comment. But if I'll try to keep an eye out for it. But if I pick up a car that has a 3-letter tag, I could potentially, two options. I could potentially kind of bring it around, but this is BNSF mainline here, um, and this is this their? I want to say I thought this was our intermodal. I think that's their intermodal. Yeah, that's their intermodal. So kind of confusing. This is Union Pacific intermodal here. This is BNSF intermodal over here. Okay, so I could potentially have brought it over, maybe left it in their yard. I wouldn't leave it in this yard, but if this was a regular manifest yard, I could leave it here and let them take it. But in this case here, if it is a 3-letter tag, I'm going to send it back to West Colton, let West Colton sort it out. So I bring that up because once again, it's about how you want to run your railroad. You know, it's your model railroad. Do what you want. All right, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to ride. There's another reason I ride here a lot. Okay, what irritates me, and I wish we could turn it off completely, but I get it if you're looking for the immersion. It's the alerter that goes off. If you're on the steps like this, the alerter doesn't go off. You can't, if you know, you don't hear it, but if you're inside the cab, you'll hear it. So, and you can actually go in, I think, is a train here? Yeah, realistic alerter time has got a check mark here. I'm going to uncheck it. So, you're still going to get your alerter. It'll be a longer duration between if you don't touch any controls. It's just a longer duration. You know, it's not realistically short like it is in the real world to make sure that there's somebody at the controls of the locomotive. So you are going to spend, my opinion, you're going to spend most of your time, unless you're running a road train, you're going to spend most of your time playing conductor. So, which is when I don't mind doing road trains, and I'm going to do a road train. I'm going to do one of those. Probably bring it from Bakersfield to Traverse. Oh, I need to stop because this is going over. So here's another irritation about which, if they are, you know, rumor is if they're working on version 4, I hope they fix this. Because if I get off the train here and go to ground, boom, I'm down in the river. So, and you run back up the hill, but that's still kind of a pain. And so I got to come over here and stand on this side of the bridge in order to click. And there are some maps where you got to be to the point where you're about like that, when you're about ready to start dropping down before you can click on it. So, all right. So anyway, I had to flip this because this section of track BNSF uses, because let me go free fly again. I can go do this a little bit faster because we come around this corner here, and here we are, LAJ A Yard and LAJ B Yard over here. And if you ever follow Kung Fu or watch Kung Fu Beers, Run8, this is probably, you didn't know he's primary down in this area. He's BNSF. So anyway, you can see, you know, there's the UP River Yard right there. So, and he's been kind enough to let me, you know, kind of help him out and do multiplayer and be in his Discord so we can talk back and forth. And I think there was one time that he wanted me to work the UP out of the river yard. I had no idea what to do, and so I didn't. I just said, I'm just going to play your conductor, and you know, or I can be your I can be your engineer, and you can do conductor for your stream, and I'll just do that. You know, that was mostly to help him out, but yeah, no, it was because I didn't know what the hell I was doing down in this area. All right, let's go ahead and off the brakes. Air's releasing. We'll go a couple notches. All right, so this industry we're going to work. This is an example of an industry I think I'm going to change in my single player, and I'm going to explain why when we get down there. And this is the one thing that's awesome about Run8 is this is what, I'm air quoting, this is what I call scenery. Okay, in a model railroad, you can put down trees, bushes, grass, little people, buildings, that's your scenery. Okay. In Run8, scenery is your industries. Okay. You can configure your industries any way you want. Okay. Um, for some reason, let's say that this industry that we're coming up to um, is accepting only loads. Well, you don't want that. I feel like I have too many loaded cars on this local. I want to make it more of a 50-50 mix of load and unload. So I'm going to change this industry from accepting loaded cars to accepting unloaded cars. That way trains have to pick up loaded cars. Okay. Oh, gee, this industry only accepts box cars. I think I want to bring in um, MOW cars, maintenance away cars, you know, and have them come in. It produces. I want the cars that have the wheels on them, the truck wheels. You could do that. I mean, it's whatever you want to do. You're limited by your imagination. So this particular first industry gets three different types of cars. My recommendation. Okay, I'm gonna get off the ground and do some running here. Run like Forrest, because I need to go down this track. So I need to flip this. And then get run over by my train. So this industry here, if you look at the cars, I have the same tag, but I have three different types of cars. So there's three different locations here. And I can tell right now they do it like I do it on my single player, but on a server, you could keep the industry name, but create three names for that industry, and you'll see here that we have tank, hopper, covered hoppers, and you'll have a place for boxcars. And you'll see why there's a place for boxcars, because there's there's open doors there, so it makes sense that would be a loading point for boxcars. All right, so let's pull up. I don't see anything. Unless you got one tucked behind the corner over here. Oh, they do. All right, so all three of these cars are going to be. Oh no, that one's going to GATX. Okay, that's a good example right there. Four-letter GATX. GATX is off of the West Colton classification hump yard classification yard. It's a repair facility, so that car is going to be set out to go into the GATX, and that's a great idea. That's a great option to where you on that particular industry scenery, you bring a car in, it goes to one station, the GATX station, gets retagged to go to say GATX cleaning, because they got to clean the car first. GATX repair, GATX repaint, and then it goes back into service. You can set that up that way. So I'm going to bring this to a stop here. Brakes. Okay. Put a lot. Usually 10 pounds is enough to stop the train. I use also train brakes and independent, just because it's easier for me to grab it. You don't need to do the independent, but anyway, I do. Anyway, so GATX you can set up this way. Now, I have, as an example right here, I've got box cars. So you could actually set this up so this car would be tagged as, say, CFP B for boxcar. This industry here is still CFP, but this track would only accept cars that are labeled CFPB. So that way, whoever's working on your server, they know that only boxcars go here. You know, this could be CFPH for hoppers go here, CFPT, so tankers go here. It's all the same industry, but it's three different, in Run8 it would be three different industries, but for you, you know, it's the same industry. It's all, was it consolidated, whatever it was. Um, but anyway, something consolidated freight packaging or whatever. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but so, but you get the point. I mean, you can set it up so that way as people come onto your server, if they, you know, because you might have one guy, Bob. I like to pick on Bob. I don't know who Bob is, but I like to pick on him. So Bob might come in and he's like, well, I'm just going to drop my tankers here. Even those box cars sitting here, you got box cars. You would think, okay, I'll pull this one out, put my box cars there. Oh no, I have had people go pull cars out and stick a tanker there. You know, and because it was easy, because it was the first one on the back end of their train. No, you know, if you want to keep it somewhat prototypical, this is where they accept boxcars. This is where they accept hoppers. This is where they accept tankers. Once again, your model railroad. What do you want to do? All right, so let's get back to work here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from here this way, drop my cars down here, and then I'll come back and then I'll do the same thing, work from here this way, and I think I've got, let's see, I've got box cars first, hopper, then tanker. So it's perfect. Whoever sorted this train, I think it was Maps, whoever sorted this train in over in the weeds yard did a heck of a job. All right. So, okay, so now we're just going to go in and we're going to pick up. We're going to grab all our pickups first to vacate the tracks. And then we just reverse and go back and drop these. All right. Flat even, no grade, so one notch should be enough. It might take a little bit to get it going. Come off the brakes just to make sure. I don't think I set hand brakes. I had the, yep, here we go. We're rolling. All right. Yeah, the GATX facility, when I first saw that as I was getting in the Run8, I'm like, wait, you can do that? And so I dove into how to do that. So when you look at it from as an operator on the server or on your thing, it's one industry with different stations in the in Run8, and I can't show you because I'm on a server, um, and that's by design that is not accessible by your server operators. Um, it's something where if the server owner wants to take it down or make those changes, they got to take the server down first, make the changes, and then bring the server back up. So, and you don't want your operators, because I mean there's some operators that are, well, quite frankly, there's something else. Okay, brakes were applied. We've got no air, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. So brakes will not work on this car because I don't have air applied to it. But we're going to pull it out. I don't need to be on the trucks. And this one's empty because it's green. That one's going to Tulsa. This one's green, it's empty. That one's going to, like I said, it's going to GATX. The only one that's loaded is the tanker over here. Hey, drop a comment in the video. This is something that I saw. I think it was Warren Van Ross. One of his videos, his tags had a box background on it, so the tags stood out better. You know what? That's something I haven't figured out how to do. So I don't know where that is or how to do that, and I just haven't looked it up. It's like low on the bottom of the priorities. But if you know how to do it, drop a comment. Let me know. I only say that because I think also, I mean, not so much for myself, but yeah, it would stand out. It's not that I have a problem seeing the tags, but I'm thinking on the videos for you guys, it would be much better for you to be able to see the tags. All right, GATX, this one's going to North Platte. So that's the main classification yard for Union Pacific. I'd like to go there sometime, but that's in Nebraska. I mean, you drive through Nebraska, what do you see? Corn, 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 corn. Oh, look, more corn, 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 rail yard, corn, 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 corn. I mean, I'm picking on Nebraska. I shouldn't do that. It's a lovely state. Lovely state. I've flown over it many times. All right, we're going to go just about 10 pounds reduction. Start to slow this thing down. Yep. And at 2. Yep. Nice. All right, and same thing. Click on the side. Release the brake. You know, and the other thing, check, there's no air. Okay, so we're good on that. The other place where you can release the brake, little side note, right here, click on the coupler, brakes are released. If it's highlighted, it's released. If that's set, that's released, and you can see on the response on the server or on your game. So you can, 2 places you can do it. All right, we're gonna go forward, and we'll grab the tanker. So 1 boxcar, 1 hopper, 1 tanker. That's an easy pickup. Oh, I just remembered. Crap. Okay, I've been doing this for like 1 hour and 11 minutes. That's okay. I just remembered I'm waiting on somebody, but I know them. They're still asleep. So for me, it's 7:45 in the morning. Spring break. All right, we're gonna go in reverse. Off the brake and a couple of notches. Notches? We don't need no stinking notches. And come back, and we're going to grab this tanker here. And then we're going to drop the 3 cars that we picked up. We're going to drop them just right in here. Make sure we're clear of the foul. And then we'll go back and do the reverse order again. Drop box cars, hopper, then a tanker. And then we'll hook up to these 3, get them all aired up. And since it's only 3 cars, I'll do the manual air up for you guys. Oh, he's coming fast. I better use some independent. There we go. Not bad. Not good, but not bad. Yeah, I'd rather, well, I want to click on the side. No air, release the brake. Okay. So, okay. Then we're going to go forward. I'm going to tell you right now, you definitely want to connect at least anything under 5 miles an hour. My personal is anything under 3 miles an hour. Trust me when I tell you, I've coupled up and not paying attention. Gee, what a surprise, farmer. Not paying attention, slammed into a tied down consist at above 10 miles an hour. It broke couplers all throughout that entire consist. So that can't happen in Run 8. So yeah, I've made that mistake. I've got to redo my video as well too. I took it down. I had a video on how to make a local. So if you're brand new to Run 8, I think I'm going to make it more current with all the new updates and everything. Make little shorts. Well, no, I don't know why. I'm just not a big shorts guy. I've got one, only because it was hilarious. But yeah, no, I think I'm gonna make just make a whole new starter set. And the ones that I had a few, I played music that was license free the other day. It wasn't a content strike against me. It was just that YouTube's going, oh, this stuff is now monetized. You're not, it's now copyrighted content. What the hell? So that changes and it's a pain, but then it's a goal. I try to look at it. We'll go ahead and apply. We're going to apply this one as well. I'm using the handbrakes on the cars. There's the 3 that I want to do to help stop the train. Let them stop the train, and I'm doing that so I can click on there, it's closed, and then open coupler. And then I can quickly pull away. Whoops. That was because I still was in the throttle. Now we go forward, and we can pull. Now I can quickly pull away. All right, so we got 3 boxcars. And you know this is for boxcars because you got doors right here, so it would have been nice if they used a asset that had doors all the way down here. But once again, these assets were put in place, I think, during version 1. No, this is version 2. I had to think of the software title for the DLC. I think it was version 2. So all right, so they closed the gap between Seiko and Goble. I talked about that earlier. That one, that's a huge thing. That was actually promised like a year and a half ago. And I know these guys, I mean, this is not the developers, this is not their main source of income, but it is a good source of income for them because they have developed a huge following. All right. All right, this is going to be, I got to make sure I don't slam into the bumper. Never put your cars up against the bumper. So, but, I mean, year and a half, I was kind of like, okay, they made a promise to close Seiko to Goble. I mean, usually they put out a DLC every year. Here it is a year and a half, and they put one out. They closed the gap. Okay. They were talking about closing Streeter as well. There's a huge gap at Streeter. There was a rumor for that. And then there's the elephant in the room. I know that they also talked about they were originally going to do Fresno to Stockton, California. Fresno, California to Stockton, California. And when they started mapping, and this is their words, not mine, when they started mapping Stockton, they realized that Stockton is the Southern California of the Central Valley. So basically, as much content as there is for San Bernardino, I hit the brakes here. I got 3 cars. All right, let's see what we got. What we got? Industry tags are on. Let me get back on the ground. So I know this is CFP. This is CFP. The orange dots go all the way up, so I know the cars are going to get worked. I could bring this car back a little bit, but I think right there is going to be good. So we're going to apply the brakes here. I mean, if I wanted to cheat it back a little bit, you could apply the handbrake on the last car and then just notch up your locomotive and slowly shove it back. But do it like a notch at a time to get it to start moving. And then when you're ready, just come off the notches and it should stop it. But I think we're good the way we are. The physics is amazing, so it'll, yeah, it will. Oops, I don't want that either. All right, I need that, and because I need to take the stretch force off, that's YOLO. So I'm gonna go ahead and give me a notch, push back, turns white. You can click on it, and we're gonna pull forward. So, but anyway, going back to the DLC, they held up and they realized that Modesto to Stockton is a DLC unto itself. And the big thing about the Fresno to Modesto DLC is the Met. You have to have the base game, but if you wanted that area, honestly, there's enough content to where you could have a train come on from the south and going north and then stop at the Empire Yard, drop cars, and you can work. There's a ton of industries, and the Met connects not only BNSF but it also connects to Union Pacific. So you could have a train come up from Union Pacific to drop cars and then go off the map. And you do the same thing with BNSF, all to work the industries in and around in the Met. So a lot of potential just on that one. So I can see what they're saying. And I know Stockton is huge. Stockton has an intermodal yard. At Stockton in real life, because I live in the area, Stockton in real life, you can go, Union Pacific goes and continues north and ends up in Roseville and then goes over the mountain. And so now we're in the Northern California DLC, or the Roseville DLC. But you can also, there in Stockton, the route diverges west for BNSF and Union Pacific. I think it's called the Mariposa route. So it's BNSF tracks, but I think there's track rights for both. And yeah, and it goes into the San Francisco Bay Area, and so there's a ton of industries between Stockton and the San Francisco Bay Area. And when you get into the Bay Area, then you have the Port of Oakland and the Port of Richmond. Ton of intermodal there as well, and not to mention other little yards that you could operate. And so a lot of potential. I think, you know what? That's good enough. Close, same thing. We're going to back up a little bit, take the stretch force off. Another way to do that as we're backing up is to apply the handbrake on the car, and then that way the stretch force is automatically released for you. But this is no big deal. Just got to be gentle. Rail driver makes that part easy. So what I'm saying is, it took them a year and a half to come up with just the UP Fresno South DLC that connects Seiko to Global, and there's a lot. I mean, I highly recommend the DLC. There's a lot. It's really really nice. It's a work of art. It makes some of these other DLCs like you guys might need to go back and maybe kind of redo your assets and things like that. So, but they have other things. So if they're working on, I think it's still a work in progress, but it's the Modesto to Stockton. See, this is what I was talking about. If I go that way and then I hit apply, I'm going to go ahead and try to keep it rolling. Throw a couple of notches in there. Came to a stop. So I got 2 notches in there, and you can see so locomotive will push against it, and we're even picking up speed. You can't do this for too long because then your brakes will overheat. But now if I come off the notches, you can watch the speed. I'm off the notches. Look how fast it drops off. So we're tucked in here nice. That's good enough. But also, if I click on the thing, coupler is already, stretch force is off the coupler. All right, so, and that thing too, side note, develop the routine. Close your angle cock first, then undo your coupler. I can't tell you how many times I've actually undone the coupler, left my angle cock open, and all of a sudden, I pull away. Now I'm in a PCS situation where I've blown it and everything comes to a dead stop. So, yeah, make sure you close your angle cock first, then do your coupler. All right, now we're going to go back to the yard. And I think we're going to go grab push these down the track. And I did say I was going to do put these up manually. So I'm going to lace these 3 cars up manually so you can see that process. The other thing too on a server, if you're not, I own this, okay? This is what I relinquish. I don't own these until these are connected to the locomotive. All right, keep coming back. I hit too many on the brakes for just a little too long. There we go, 1.5, yeah. Boom, okay. So I'm gonna work, just 3 cars, I'm gonna work from the back to the front. So come here, make sure the most rearward car is closed, and you know what? Can I attach a flag? It's not. Oh yeah, there it goes. It was a little bit of a delay. All right, so I got a flag on the end of that. If it stays, it stays. So got a flag on the end of that. What was I watching? I was watching a video the other day. Oh, I know. It was 7 Idea Productions was doing a video out in Arizona on the copper mine out there. And I noticed that they were using flags on the back end of their train. So I was like, oh, I forgot about the flags. So, okay, I'm going to do connection here. Connects the hoses. So, and both of these are going to show connected. This angle cock's open. This one's open. That's what I'm looking for. A green, open, connected. I don't want to hit open coupler. Because right now they're locked. So I want them to stay locked. And then we're going to move up and do the same thing here. And we're going to connect, check the air coupler, everything's connected, we're good. And we're going to come up here, same thing, open, that's exactly what I want to connect, green open, perfect. But I'm going to come here, we're connected, but we're closed. I don't want to open up. I don't want to open. Let me see so I can get you guys. We're going to look at CFM. If I open this up, it's going to be a massive dump of air, and we're going to it's going to blow the PCS. So we're going to go partial, which is basically slowly opening up that angle cock. Okay, and the engineer would be telling us, watching the airflow, and would radio to us, okay, you can go ahead and go full open. All right, and at that point I would go full open, but we use And when I do multiplayer, we do that a lot. You know, it's like you're watching the air, you got the airflow gauge in the locomotive. I need you to tell me when the airflow gauge is below 70. Some people say below 80. I do below 70. Once it goes below 70, okay, you can go full open. That way you just don't blow the PCS. And that is a simple lesson on how to lace your train up. So I love this EOT ID, and it's just a flag. Okay, we're good. All right, so at this point, I'm going to try to get on. Here we go. All right, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to reverse, reverse. Oh, I did the other thing I didn't do. Get back on the ground. I'm going to click on the side of the car, and that was the other thing. I was looking at the couplers, thinking I'm missing something. I'm leaving something out, and I just did. Okay, go to release. Release the hand brake. So connection, make sure it's open, where you can, and if you're ready, you can release the handbrake on the car. Remember, your brakes are on the locomotive, but depending on how, if the cars are low, well, depending, this doesn't matter if they're loaded or not. If the only thing holding your train is a locomotive, as you release the handbrakes, more and more weight's going to be put on that locomotive to the point, if it's a very steep grade, you could end up start pushing that locomotive down the hill. Don't want that. So that's why you always want to make sure, and actually I just looked over, I don't, have your train brake set. Once you set your air, have your train brake set as well. All right, so anyway, we're going to come back. Get on here, all handbrakes are released. Attach point, there we go. On the rail driver, under the emergency stop key, if you push it away, it's emergency stop. If you pull it towards you, it releases all the handbrakes on everything. All right, release the air. We're going to go ahead and shove back. And then we're going to be looking at the switches as we're shoving back. Make sure that every switch that we pass, it gets normalized. Good rule of thumb, don't, even in a yard, make sure your switches are normalized. I wonder who set that back. I don't remember setting that back yesterday. And that goes into, unless it's auto and an intermodal. Maybe there's an intermodal that they have spawning in there. So alright, conductor on the ground. Jumped off the train at 10 miles an hour. Yeah, it's a broken leg. Alright, normalized. If I look down the rail and I see green, yep, we're normalized. Attach point, riding the car back. Yeah, even on a server, even this is BNSF Diamond right here. I just heard a horn. I'm like, I'm looking around. What horn? I realize it's a train here in town. see what happens if I do this. You just gave me a light right there. All right. And let's see. Well, all right, so that's not here, but it is. I got a light here and that one down there flipped yellow as well too. So I should be okay. That way he's got me lined up so I go straight. So instead of going into the intermodal yard, I can go straight. And that's really what I want to do. Working out of the river yard. If I go up past here, there is he's got the light flipped, so that way that's crossing the 3 main lines for BNSF. So by giving me a yellow, BNSF now has red. So if they've got anybody on that, any eye candy AI trains, they're going to come to a stop. So even though I don't need the full stop, I'm going to see what happens if he'll drop that signal. Unless I go past it, then it may drop on its own. All right, on the ground here by the switch. Going straight like I want. Perfect. Off the throttle. Just about 10 pounds, 9-pound reduction, bringing it to a stop. All right. Attach point. There. For anybody who wants to hear, what horns am I using? It's a default. Okay, he canceled my routing. Perfect. So, should be on the other side so I can see the lights, but it doesn't matter. Okay. So anyway, yeah, it's just a default. I don't know. I mean, other than the San Joaquin Valley Rail, horn, getting it off of the enhancement Discord. I know Christy does good work on his horns, but I don't care. I mean, I don't care about his work as well. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't care about changing my horn because honestly, I rarely use my horn. There's something that I've never. See, headlight intensity is all the way up. Locomotive failure is set to often. That's server side. Show handbrake icon for the entire train on. Tip over switch. String line. Oh, string line derailments. I like to turn that off. What is string line derail? String line. Oh, if you're on a grade and you keep breaking knuckles trying to start, I'm talking from experience. Okay, so my experience was I had a train of like 80 loaded tankers, midline DPUs, and the train DPUs, and I was constantly trying to get started on that grade, breaking couplers, turning off. That's string line. Okay, turning this off, string line problem went away. So, all right, so we're lined up. I already remember we're lined up, so I can just go straight down. Actually, I don't really want to do that on this. Oh yeah, I do. Yes, I do. What am I saying? Let's go free flying. I'm gonna let that run. Okay, red light, and red light. Okay, so everything dropped over here. Good. I assumed that it would, but I just wanted to make sure that it did. So I need to go all the way in. I'm going to push into that tank because that's a pickup down there. All right, let's see. Looking at the map, I know that tankers go down between the buildings here, so I would pull off and back down in. That's perfect. After the tankers, that's Clorox. CPC, where's CPC? CPC's not there. CPC is down there too, so I can grab CPC. I can take those and the ones for CPC with me. Oh, there's more Clorox. Oh, that's COP. That's COP. Coast Packaging. All right, COP, Coast Packaging. That is. That's CP Riddle. Okay, so CPC and COP. Okay, I know where that goes. All right. So this one, I have to go back and take a look. I think I can go do Clorox, come back and grab those. DKE would be for me to put on the CDP. DAG, okay. So DAG is back in here. DKE, we just passed it. That's a good chunk of the train. So I think I'm going to drop these cars that I've got down here and connect them to that tanker right there. Bring the locomotive back up, come back down on this one, and then that way any cars that need to kind of do a similar run that what I just did, I can connect them to this locomotive, and then I'll switch over. But I'm going to pull the Clorox off first, and then the next ones I need to go look to see. I think I know where they're at. I just need to go look at it and see. CDP's there, X-side. DKE is coming out. That would be this one backing it out. DAG should go on the Clorox, go in with Clorox, but I'll take the Clorox one first. Oh, I can't put the locomotive on this. What am I thinking? Once again, forward thinking. As I talk through it in my head, I gotta leave the locomotive on. Probably leave this one connected and in the middle. That way I won't block this one as a runaround as needed. But I don't see it because I want to go down. I need to come out with Clorox because Clorox will go on the end of this train coming from the direction we're currently traveling. Let's see, X-side. X-side is really unique. I mean, that if I have anything for X-side, that might be the last one that I do because I will have to have locomotives on both ends of those cars. Depending on how many cars I have. I didn't look to see how many cars I'm going to have. So, do I have a switch list on this? Nope. Everything's been picked up. That's the other thing too. I got to look to see. Make sure you got to look at your cars to make sure that they're still not turning. I can get on the ground here. Back up. We got downhill grade, so one knot should do it. Slow speed doesn't work on downhill grades, so I got to watch the speed. How many cars cars do I have for DKE? That might be one. I might pull that out and see. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ah, I gotta pull the flag. There we go. Doesn't do anything, but just want to pull the flag. Remove. There we go. All right. Now I got a little uphill. It was downhill on that side. Now I got a bit of an uphill, so he's moving it. We'll take the handbrake off. Two notches. Connected. Still no air in that one. Oh, it's got some air in it. Bleed it. That's why it was like, if you get like that where it's like, why is it so hard to push, even though you got the handbrakes off, is there's still air on the car, so the brakes are still, it takes air to apply the brakes. Well, I know it's confusing. All right, I think we're good. Clear. All right, so I'm gonna go there, close, set that handbrake. Actually, I did it wrong. I want this one open, this one closed. There we go, and we're gonna push back a little bit. Release. Pull forward for just a little bit. Independent brake, set it. All right, and set the handbrake on that, and click on the side, and we're gonna relinquish this one. All right, we don't own that train anymore, so let's go down to the other one. I want to look at. Oh, I know what I want to do. First of all, I want to do left control L. That was something I was thinking of. Industry cars, come here. I'm looking at everything green has cars that are ready to be picked up. YBK50, no. YLA, there you go, YLA51. Baker Commodities are the ones I just set out. That's the, oh no, cereal food processors. Those are the ones that I just set out. Baker Commodities I just set out yesterday. So from here down, okay, everything's ready to be picked up. So Clorox has got, looks like one. Glory Packaging's got one. Coast Packaging, Command Dave's got one. DK Environmental's got two. Efron's got two. Exide has three. You get the gist. So I'm looking to see if I was leaving anything behind. So, which would mean that if I was going to do right, example, Clorox, say Clorox that has one car, but it's not ready to be picked up. What I would do is I would pull that car out, put the new ones in, and then basically rotate the cars and then put that old one back in front. So whoever works this after me, when they go to do a pickup, I'm trying to do them a solid unless enough time has gone by that all the cars are ready to be picked up. If they come back and work it the next day because there's another train, oh, there's that car, that one that is ready to be picked up will be easy for them to grab. The others will be still being in the area to be worked. Thought I had earlier, and I wanted to mention this. And this has happened here on this server. If you ever go to an industry and you pick up a car and it says no tag, it's more likely that that car is not supposed to be at that industry. We run into that a lot with a couple of individuals that got lazy and just dropped cars wherever they wanted because that's what you're supposed to do. No, you have to set the cars out. So you bring up your car tags, and if you don't know how to do that, you just go into your controls, go to keyboard if you don't have a rail driver. On a rail driver, there's a button that's already mapped to that. But you can go scroll down. Once again, it's in alphabetical order. So if I'm looking for, actually, is it under car tags? No, I'm not sure. You might have listed something else. And every command in here, by the way, is for both server and single player, but it doesn't mean that that every command is going to work on the server. Not all commands work on the server. Here we are, toggle car tags. They have it under toggle car tags. So left control F8. You just click on tar card. Well, I want to know what it is. Left control F8. So you can do a left control F8, hold down left control, and then F8, and it cycle, train stats. That's over here. 35 loads, 5 empties, 4,000 tons, almost 4,500 tons, 2,200 feet, 2,300 feet long, so, and then round again, it turns the tags off, round again, hit it again. That's your car. That's your car number. Every car has a number, okay? And so, our unit number. So you might get hey, unit number such and such derailed. You can come here and go bring that up over your cars, go find your unit number, and then you know what car has derailed. And then left control and F8 brings it back to where it has the local tag and then the industry tag. So you can do the same thing like within Rail Driver, the button's mapped, it does the same exact thing. So just by pressing the button. All right, so what I want to do though, I know that everything's being picked up. Okay, so let's see if I mapped this to bring up the switch list. Oh, the reason I went is because I don't know if you guys can see that, but this locomotive, I gave it the tag YLA51 so I can grab the switch list because it was the lead locomotive on its way over here. I think I didn't get the switch list because I don't believe that locomotive down there is tagged for YLA51. As you can see, it's not that important, but if you do want the switch list, you got to have your tag. The locomotive has to be tagged the same YLA51 as the industries that you're working on, the local that you're working. So yeah, that was clumsy, but you got my point. All right, so CPC is next after this. COP. Let me look at the map. I'm going back and looking at the map again. So that's after close CPC. So close over there. CPCs and COP are next. Okay, so I have the industry tag still up. So the plan, what I'm going to do next, I am just going to still go to Clorox, but I'm going to fly over here because this is where we go up and then go back. Okay, so I need to, knowing that's Pro right there, and you can see that would be, when I grab Pro, I have to pull in with my locomotive and then back in. Or if I back in because Pro is with it, at least I have a runaround so I can do what I need to do. But there's COP right there, and there's CPC. So planning it out, I can use this locomotive. Same thing. I can go out because it's going to be locomotive this way. Okay, locomotive is going to be on this end. Then I'm going to be backing up Since the locomotive's on this end facing this way, I'm going to be pulling in and pull the cars in, and then do a, drop, and get them in here or get them in here, either or. It doesn't really matter, and then do a run around. And I'm thinking I'm over here too. I might grab all these guys and empty this track out, because I think I got some pro. Let me see. Where's pro? Exec I got quite a bit, so that's going to be, like I said, that was going to be my last one, because we got gondola, pellet hopper, boxcars. So cut one of these, you push in. The other two you got to pull past and then back in. Oh, there goes some of my candy. Pro is way down here, so I could make my life easier by going over there and pulling all of that out. And then when it comes down to that car, I'm ready just to go in, pull in, drop, and go. So I will do that. That's my plan. So, all right. So we're going to do, and then I can just, since anything I pull out, thinking, yeah, grab these last as I head back, because then it'll be back out, pull forward, and then back in, and then down that middle and hook into the cars that I already set out. Whoa. Unit oil train. Hey, look, we're in California. We shut down all our refineries. We're shipping oil in because we have no refineries out here. That's why our gas is the highest in the nation. Thank you, Governor Newsom, for that. We appreciate it. How do I really feel? All right, so right now we're just going to do CLO. Let's take care of that. All right, so I want to, because especially these are tankers, I'm going to connect. So I released. I'm going to go ahead and release that car. This car is released, connected, open. We're going to release this car. We're going to close that one, open that coupler. Don't care about that. We can disconnect. There we go. All right. Those are released, and then what we're going to do then is we will go here and we're going to go partial. And it comes right back down. We can go full open. Compressor came on. I love it. All right. Actually, yeah, we'll just write it. Forward. Hang on. Is in run. The brakes are applied. How about if I take the brakes off my locomotive? They run so much better when they don't have brakes. Look, we're successful. All right. So this other one, I could have used the other locomotive and did the same kind of maneuver. So I push out and then drive down and then push back in, and that way I'm already lined up. But I've got a runaround track there, so I'm not going to really worry about it. Let me get on the ground, go flip that switch. Oh crap, I forgot to do slow speed. I changed locomotives, forgot about that. Alright, come notches. Slow speed, so I want to set it to about. So yeah, technically I was speeding there. Bad farmer. Alright, this one we're going to push back all the way into Clo. And there's two tracks over there, so we can set these out and then go over to the other track and pick up the one that's ready to be picked up, bring it back, and then push it down this track and connect it to those cars down there. Then we'll come up and grab these ones and go take care of the next set of industry. So I got a plan, and then when I hook up, I will look at the next set of cars. And I think when I go I'm going to grab all these. I'm going to pull them up closer as well too. Well, yeah, we have multiplayer on. Somebody's on. Well, today's Monday, so if somebody worked me, I could be over here working this, and somebody go over there could be working that, and you look over and see cars moving around, and it's actually really cool when you get a server that a lot of people are on. Now you can get on. You can join the SRS server by joining my Discord channel. I will have the link to. I have two Discord servers. One is for NorCal, because that's being hosted by somebody else right now. Thank you, Kung Fu Beard. I'm speeding again. Downhill grade. So. And we'll put slow speed on right there, 9.5. That works. But slow speed doesn't stop acceleration going downhill. So, and then I have the Mocel server, which I think I'm going to rename. Because it's not just Mocel. I had he did NorCal for me, and my first server was Mohawk and Selkirk. And then eventually somebody quit doing Southeast, and so I asked them if I could take over the Southeast server, and they said, go ahead and put it up. Okay, because I didn't want to conflict with them. And so I did. I put that up, and then after that was Pittsburgh, and then AGS South. So they're all under. So the separated, and a lot of it has to do with how you access the servers through the bots that we have going. So, and a word on the bot too. When you sign into, you'll have the information, but you need a password, and the password changes daily. So every time you sign in, you need to get onto the Discord channel and do a / command. If you do a / command, just put in the what I'm going to call the right-leaning /. It's above the question mark on your keyboard. So if you do that, and you'll get a menu on there. You should see the command refresh pass. All you gotta do is click on that command, and then it will refresh your password, and then just copy and paste that into your into Run8 on the network channel. Yeah, I forgot. I got a pretty good. This is a 1% grade, downhill grade right here. It was right there on that turn. It's down. Okay, now we're dead flat. So, but you need to do that every time you sign in. Now, here's the thing with the password bot. I have it set for 30 days. So if you do not sign in at least once every 30 days, actually, maybe I'll rephrase that. You don't need to sign in. You have to at least hit refresh pass at least once every 30 days. I'm stopping because I'm kind of second guessing myself on that statement. You can do a refresh pass, but then if you're not sure, sign in. Do that. But yeah, it's just shows inactivity. And so then if you come back and decide you want to play, like, hey, you went out of town, you got in the hospital, for your computer blew up, whatever reason, you just need to leave me a message in Discord and I'll get it. You can DM me in Discord, hey, can you reset my password for me? Or, can you, reset my status? Add me back, whatever it might be. Now, if you get the command, I'm going to grab DAG while I'm here too, because I know that one is, so anything that I can pick up and take with me to go when I go back, I'm going to do, because that'll help when I do my set outs, because I know I have a DAG. So basically, I'm going to work my switch list and try to work it efficiently. But yeah, I mean, if I need to reinstate you, I can reinstate you. It's no big deal. It just, I get it. People move on, go to different simulators, different games, take a break. Heck, I even got locked out of on my servers because I took a break from Run8, and I just was doing it solid. And I'm like, okay, and then I got into flight sim, so I was doing that. Now I'm back to Run8 again. All right, let's go ahead, and I want to hit the brakes. Yeah, see, now this is an example here. Let's see if I can catch it in time. Once you drop your cars, I would have flipped that so whoever was going to come in behind me, okay, comes in behind me, I'm protecting this car. I'm not going to go down. If this is empty, I'll set it in this particular situation so whoever comes in, they can just back straight in, and then I'll flip the switch, in this case when I leave, so I can back in, grab that tanker, and I'll leave the switch in that state so that whoever brings in the next set of tankers for this industry, they can just back right in. I hope that made sense. So it's just, it's that forward thinking when you're on a server, even though, I get it. It's very easy to not think about other people being on the server, but you have to think that way. What am I doing that is going to interfere with somebody else's fun? Okay, and little things like in certain situations, presetting a switch, at an industry like this, and I clarify that it's at an industry because you don't do it when you're in the yard. If you got manual throw switches in the yard, then you want to make sure that by railroad rules, that they're all lined normal. Okay, but in an industry, you can leave the switch so you're protecting the cars. And here's a perfect example of this. Let me bring this to a stop. We're going to get close to the bumper. I'm going to really push back here. Yeah, good enough. All right. So, like I said, never go up against the bumper. Leave a buffer room here, so if whoever's coming in connects, if they connect a little bit hard, it won't go in and slam in that bumper because you can break couplers. All right, so let's go ahead and we are going to set the handbrake on that one. We'll set the handbrake on this one. We're going to come here and we're going to close our angle cockpit on there, and we need to push back. We go back and we can already see it set. We can disconnect. That's okay. because that's the air coming out of these, you know, popping out of these cars. But this is closed before you do that, or you'll blow your PCS. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to push back a little bit. Let me come off the independent, and we're going to pull this away. So, but I mean, just the only thing I would say is that whatever you do, you know, hey, I know I'm the only person working, but I'm on a server. I have to keep that in my mind. I'm on a server. You know, is there somebody else working out of this yard? You know, there's nobody else working this particular industry, because the work list that the SRS uses, what they call the registry, I put in there that I'm working it, so I have ownership of this particular local until I release it, either as a crew change or call it completed in, you know, in the registry. So nobody else is going to work it, because they can't. Well, they can in the server, but on the documents they can't, because I have it. So, and that's where, like earlier, Maps was on, and I'm here working, you know, so he can see that I'm actually working something. He's another one of the admins for the SRS. All right. So I'm just going to F7 cheat, and I'm going to hit the button to take the brakes off. So we're going to go ahead and pull forward. So if I click on the side of the car, it's all aired up. Brakes are already released. So now it's just a matter of notching up, pulling forward. And then I'm going to go grab the other car that's over here that's going to Tulsa. This one here. And there's another one, I think a couple of other places where I can back in and get cars as I'm heading out. Very interesting industries over in this area. This one is actually kind of divided in half. So one set of industry, you're backing in, like I did with these cars. On the other side, you back in that way, except for this one industry, which is the EXC that you see right there. I basically, when I bring those cars down, I got to have locomotives on both sides, because they've got cars that you would back into, and then others you got to use the other locomotive to back into. All right, let's get done. So I left that switch the way it is to protect those cars. So there we go. All right. It's backwards here. Now this switch that I'm going over, that's normalized. It's green. That one I'm going to leave the way it is. One, there's no split. There's no two. I mean, there's only one delivery here. So the next person that's coming down may be coming right to this one. But this main reason too is I'm going to leave it in the normalized position, because I will be delivering a car to this location. Whoa, I just saw something. Hold on a second. All right, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, I mean, that's not enough of a buffer. It's not up against the bumper here, but it's not enough of a bumper, because if I hit this hard enough, it'll slam into that, and I could potentially break couplers, and I have. So you want to leave maybe about a quarter of a car length, quarter to a half, and especially if you got all of this. This is all industry track. You know, you only have one car going in. You don't need to put it right up next to the bumper. So now that I know it's as close, I got to really come in kind of gentle. as soon as I get that clunk on the independent brake. All right, same thing. We're going to go ahead and connect. We can release. If there was a grade right here, it's 0% grade, but if it was a grade, you know, going downhill this way, as soon as I release the handbrake, that car is going to roll into that bumper. It'll touch it, but it won't do anything. All right, so this is all aired up. We're connected. I need to go partial. It should go right up and then come right back down again. It's going full, so that's kind of a bug. And you can see my brake pipe pressure is depleting. So this happens sometimes in Run8. Let me go check that last. Nope, it's leaking out. There it is. Close. So that's the other thing too. Whoever set this here, they probably pushed it in with the car bled. But another convenience piece is leave the rear closed. So whoever's going to come in, okay, I can do this. It's good. We're below, way below 70. I can go full open. It just makes the next person's life easier. So, like you look at these, I just dropped these off, but it's closed. Angled cock is closed. So whoever comes in, they just need to hook up and then they can air up. And here's another here's the thing too. If there's a server restart for some reason, it's a thing in Run8. They're supposed to have resolved it, but every so often you're like, why do I have an open, you know, why are the glad hands not connected? Well, one of two reasons. One, people pushed their cars in here and they were bled and they had no reason to lace the cars up. Or more often, it's a server restart and puts the cars in kind of what I call a neutral state. So, but I'm thinking again, this one would have been ready. I could have just aired up, watched it, and then good to go. So, but never have both angles. That's something in railroading. Safety-wise, you should not bottle your air just for safety. But nobody is really willing to come out and say don't do it. And I mean, starting with the Federal Railroad Administration. The closest they've ever come was to say it's advised that you don't do it. So, all right, I got some good work in here. 2 hours 16 minutes. Nice. So this is where this switch right here, in its normal state, okay, if I flipped it to where the flags are green, okay, it's straight through. Okay, that's normal. But we leave it reversed, which is actually the normal state for it, because we're pulling in and pulling out, and we still have to pull in and then back in to get to the industries that are over here. So we would be driving in with the cars on this side and then pull through and then back in. And it's just, yeah, that's so its normal state is to be left in a reverse position. You can store some cars here if you need to. There's no industry there, but this is a blank track. If you wanted to put an industry there, you could. You could actually add to your scenery by, you know, putting, you know, another place to bulkhead flat cars, or, you know, bringing gondolas in full of pipe, you know. Speaking of, just my wish list, guys. Another wish list: flat cars, not bulkhead flat cars, regular flat cars. You know, and now when they're loaded, you might see like a tractor on it, or you might see like crates on it, or something other than, you know, because I know we have the bulkhead flat cars, but we just don't have plain Jane flat cars, which was like someone told me that they were the original car. That was, you know, when railroading happened, it was a flat car. That was it. Put grates on it and tie it down. All right, get on the ground because I'm going to go pull in and I'm going to grab these cars here. All right, let's stop and come to a stop. Flip the switch. Another one for Tulsa. Whoa, I'm coming fast. That's a downhill grade right there. I forgot about it. I keep forgetting about that grade. Just a little independent application, apply, release, kind of feather. There it is. Under, just about 3 miles an hour. So, yeah, see, this is not a bad distance here. It's almost a full car length. I probably would, you know, since this is a tanker, you know, it's not like Derail Valley. Like if you hit the tanker, it's going to blow up. But I probably would have pushed it back maybe about half this distance. All right, let's check this. Open, closed. So we're going to close that one. And that's only because whoever did it last left them open. And so we're going to come here. We're going to connect. We're going to release the handbrake. Go here, go partial. Watch our CFM. Already coming down, so we're going to go full open. And we're good to pull away. And because we're on an uphill grade, I'm going to apply 2 notches and then slowly release the independent brake. There we go. This one I will, this is straight through going this way, so I will put it back to normal. So that way I'm protecting this industry. There, okay, in that state, all right. Let's go faster. Alright, so these cars here, I gotta go all the way down, then back all the way down to here. I might pull these up. I don't think they're connected. If they're still connected to that locomotive, I might just leave them where they're at. And if they are connected to the locomotive, I can go take a look. It's free fly. Because I gotta go down anyway, so let's go down here. Oh, I did pull away. Okay, good. So reason I was looking at that locomotive is like if I back in, if that locomotive was connected to those cars, then that locomotive would automatically become part of the set, and then in order to continue what I'm doing, I would have to basically isolate that locomotive, isolate it and make sure it was locked down or tied down. Okay, so what I could do then is I could hook up and I'll drag those up to about the midway point. So all these are DKE. I would, if I can pull DK, I might pull DKE off. I'm thinking here. Because if I pull the DK, if I pull all this out, and I have CDP along with COP, where's CDP? CDP is at the very end of where I just came out of. Alright, so I'll pull these up to CDP. I'll pull this whole set up to the very end. And what I can do is I can pull, once I get to the end, I'll pull the DKE off, set them on this track, and then the other locomotive, I come down here, hook up to DKE, go in, and then that way I can push it into, because that industry's right there. And that's a huge chunk of this train. So, yep. So biggest thing like this is just, especially when you're working in like a small, I call it a small yard because there's only three, really, there's three tracks, but you only have two to use. And you don't want, and splitting the locomotives makes it easier. You only need one locomotive anyway, and most locals, anyway, you know, it's a matter of convenience if you have two locomotives, but really, most locals are run with one. So, but in this area, this local, I mean, this cut of cars is so heavy that, because everything's loaded, that you use two because you need to because of how heavy the consist is. So a little auto brake, train brake, you want to call it, whatever, you know, and then, all right. And we'll ride this. So we'll go down, we'll have to be a little gingerly because we got about a quarter of a car down there, and the last thing I want to do is lose my focus and then slam those cars in that locomotive. It's not a bad thing, it's just kind of it's just a harassment. So, and I'm saying that because it's time for another cup of coffee. So I actually have time to do that. Let's see, oh yeah, it's been a while. Keurig turned itself off. I think I even want to get a bigger cup in here so I can do like half coffee and half hot chocolate. Poor man's mocha. So side note, yeah, the DLC, the new DLC to UP Fresno South, $40. There was a new car pack I held off on because it's like no big deal. It was kind of mainly that car pack. It was kind of a reskins of cars we already have. And unless those cars are actually implemented in the industries on the server, you're never going to see those cars. So, yeah, but just to get my OCD out of the way, I have those. I did buy the car pack. So on any of the servers, especially my other servers, you might see those cars, and if you start seeing a lot of Run8 cars, placeholder cards is what I'm going to talk about. It. When you're 100, I'm going to tell you right now, when you're 100%, you still may see some Run8. Okay, they're going to be few and far between, but you might see some because I think there's a couple that are part of the consist, and that if you do, let me know and I'll pull them out. And so I'll make sure that those cars, and I try to do that with the industries, that I can call for certain cars and just make sure that the Run8s don't get pulled. But yeah, locomotive, I'm 100% locomotives, 100% rolling stock, and 100% on DLCs. I have everything. That's a lot. Don't ever add it up. I'm gonna tell you right now, do not add it up. But all right, let me. I should make a note of this. But I'll talk about it here. But I am going to make a little tiny video again on this. I'm going to go back and look at some of my videos, the older ones, and maybe it's time to do a more modern update on some of them. A redo. All right, came off the notches. And just light application of the independent brake just to start slowing this down a little bit. Right at about 2 miles an hour. All right, we're gonna hit the independent brake on this. And so I'm just gonna do F7, release the brakes, go to forward, and start pulling. We're gonna go to ground. I can do end of train. So end of train puts me at the end here. All right, I'm gonna go over here and hit attach point. And so I just want to drag this up. I'm going to put it right here in the middle, right about where these, right across from these switches right here, maybe a little bit closer to that end. And then I'll tie these down, and then take this locomotive up and go do what I want to do, and let's go. Yeah, a little bit more. We'll just let these go. I'm gonna come off the throttle. Start feathering the. Okay, let's go. That should be good enough right there. Doesn't have to be perfect. That just brought to mind an old friend of mine. Missed the guy. He passed away due to lung cancer. He fought the good fight to the very end. He really did. And it was a very interesting situation. I've been talking, talking to him on and off. For my kids, he was Farmer Lord, and he was the one that got me into Farming Simulator. We had so many good times. Okay, close that angle cock. We're going to go ahead, open the coupler, and I'm going to release the handbrake because I had hit the button. So all these cars all the handbrakes are applied on them, and which would technically it's called the emergency stop button. But when you come to a complete stop and hit it, it just puts the handbrake on all the cars. So, all right, and go forward. And I'll tell you right now, that's something else on the server that if you start doing that, that actually could cause. If you do it a lot, it could cause a server to crash. And trust me, it shows up in the logs that if you're hitting the e-brake all the time, yeah, they're going to talk to you. We did have a situation. I'm not going to name names, but we did have a situation where an individual was using his e-brake all the time, and I could have somebody right now above me watching me, and I can't see them. You don't know it. And we were above them, and we were watching them, and it turned into a bit of a conflict. We're like, hey man, you gotta stop doing that e-brake stuff. That's not how we operate. I'm not doing that. We're above you. We're watching you, because when you're above looking down, we can see your name, and we know who you can click on it and go, oh yeah, this person's got control of the train. We can see it. And so we're up there watching this guy. No, you're not. Yes, we are. We're streaming. We're streaming what we're seeing into Discord. Come look. We're in the channel with you. Look. You know, and next thing you know, he just bails out of the server because he got caught. So just don't do it. You know, if you want to do it on your single player, that's fine. That's your single player. That's your model railroad. You know, but when you're on a server, um, I guess the first step is what what do the server owners expect? Find out what the expectation is. There should be a rule page somewhere. Um, servers like the Depot Plus, they will want to do a check ride. Okay, they want to make sure that you can operate a train. And that check ride, I've done that check ride. And if you want to get to Depot Plus, you know, me, um, K Mike, and others. I mean, I know K Mike went, they made him jump through hoops. I got lectured over, I got like 15, 20-minute lectures over little tiny things. They play extremely realistic on the Depot Plus. And if that's what you want to play, I mean, honestly, and if you're, I will say this, and I'm not saying this disparagingly, so don't think that I am. If you're a railroader, retired or active duty, okay, and you wanna play how you work, Depot Plus is where you want to be. I will tell you that right now, okay, because the majority of that community are real railroaders. If you want to raise your game up, okay, and learn railroading from real railroaders, that's where you want to be. But if you are casual like us, then Southwest Rail Simulations, South, you know, they do the SoCal server. They were one of the original. All right, come here. You know, you want to do Mohawk and Selkirk or the Southeast, any of those, go there. Go to my other ones. We're casual. You know, I'm to the point on my servers. You know what? If you see something that needs to be done, just do it. Whatever you want to do. If you need cars dropped in, I'll drop cars in. Just DM me. Hey, I need cars for this local. Okay, no problem. I'll give you a ton of cars. You know, and what I do at that point, if you let me know, if you communicate to me, okay, then what I will do is I will go in and I'll look at not just the local you're interested in, I'll look at all the locals. All right, and that will be dropped in. It'll be a mixture of cars, several trains dropped in into a receiving yard so that you have to classify them. That's where it's going to start. Okay, and you have to classify and then work. You know, and my other thing too is I know that some people like to work certain locals. They have their favorites, and that's okay. But I do encourage, hey, step out of your comfort zone and work, you know, work the rest of the map. Get to know the entire map. Um, okay, so F7 cheat, off the handbrakes, switching. This is going to be a hard pull on this single. Brake cylinder, I'm going to bail that off. Okay, so there's no air on the brake cylinder. Three notches. Slowly pulling it. Going to 4. Alright, we are slowly dragging this. Let me get on the ground and get to the end down here. Actually, I'm going to run all the way down here because I'm going to pull it up, but then I'm going to be cutting some cars loose, like the DKE cars. That's really where I want to break the train, and I'll put the DKE over here, and then push the rest back onto this track. And maybe, you know, I think if anything, I'll leave the one back on this track, and then take the ones that are connected to this one and go work them, and then I'll come back and I can use the other locomotive to do the DKE. That's my plan. Okay. Ow. Stretching my back out is. Right now, my back. I mean, I'm telling you, if you're young, take care of your back. A lot of crunches, sit-ups, man. Extras keep, but don't. Whatever you do, work smart. I didn't work. Well, mine was from my initial injury was from riding horses, and it's been degrading ever since. 40 years of wear and tear, and just sitting in this chair with massively big lumbar support. Yeah, it's not good. I can't feel either one of my legs right now. All right, there's comp. We need those. CDP. There's DAG as well. So I think that's what I want. Is I want comp. CPC and COP I want. CDP is on a different branch, so is DAG. And then we got DKE. And you can see all the DKE tankers. I was going to fill that. Alright, I'm actually going to stop it. Alright. You can see by all the red tags how many, I mean, almost every car is a loaded car. Hey, look, it's an effing car. Alright, we're going to close that one, open that. That's all we need to do. Release the auto brake, and we're going to go ahead and start pulling. Right back to 3 notches. Not right to 3 notches, it was like step 1, step 2, step 3. Put this. I don't know what to get. I like it when these are on. That. I don't think, you know what, and that'd be nice if that was part of it. You set the industry up and they're taking tags, and then you could specify, you know, for the industry, incoming loaded cars, what kind of hazard plaque should be on that car. And then when the car flips to green, so it's empty, that hazard plaque would come off automatically. That would be really nice. Alright, and we're going to flip this one. And we're going to flip this one. And I want to stand here so I can make sure that we're not going to block the switch, and we're going to push back, so reverse. See, it's 9:20 my time right now. I think I probably have about another 40 minutes. So 2 hours and 43 minutes on this. So it'll be about 3 hours and 3.5 hours or so, somewhere around there. Then I'm gonna have to stop and go wake my friend up and say, okay, we need to go do what we need to go do. You're oversleeping. I mean, he's retired. He's entitled. I'm trying to remember if I told him I was going to wake him up at 10 o'clock my time or 9 o'clock. I might be the one that's late. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, we got one more DKE. So this one here, I'm going to go ahead and put the handbrake on. We'll start slowing it down. Close that one, open the coupler up. We can disconnect too. Oh no, we're good, It's closed. Ooh, I did always do that. See, inhalation hazard. I like those when the placards are on there. All right, let's go ahead and pull forward. Oh no, wait, I thought it was leaving. Never mind, I'm good. Sometimes I'll pop the coupler, and then if there's a little rollback on the cars, they'll reconnect sometimes. So, alright, so DKE is set aside. Then this one is DAG and CDP are not where we're heading. So we're going to push those back over to here. We'll leave those behind. Alright, and then we're going to take the others with us and go deal with them. Alright, got some. Auto brake is on. Actually, I could have stopped a lot sooner, but alright, we're going to. Oh no, I want this one. I do want this one. Alright. So let's reverse. I don't kick cars either. As well, number one, I kind of struggle with it. I can do it sometimes, but not all the time. But real world, I was reading some FRA reports on some death of some railroaders that got pinned in the couplers because they were kicking cars and like kicking into these cars, but whoever dropped these cars didn't set any handbrakes, and it was on a grade, and so they kicked a car into it and it hit it and it broke it loose. And so he wasn't paying attention, and he was doing something on the coupler on this car here, and everything rolled right in and it pinned him in the coupler. So it's like, okay, so it's a safety thing. I know it's not going to bother me on the sim the whole bit, and it's your sim, do what you want, but it's like, you know what? I read the reports. The FRA never came out and said, oh, don't ever do that again. They leave it up to the railroads. Actually, do I want this one? No, I don't want CDP. So we're going to handbrake that one as well. We'll leave this. See, that's open and that's open. Perfect. We'll leave that the way it is in that state. Rear ankle cock is already closed. Like this one, I'm going to close this one. And we can leave that one open. We do got to push back a little bit to get the stretch force off. There we go, 2 notches. It was heavy. Alright, we're going to pull it. Alright, and we're going to put that on there. We're going to attach, there he goes, attach a flag. Alright, good farmer. Alright, 2 notches, Slow speed is on. End of train. On board. Alright, here we go. See there, you can see cops right there, and CDP's down a little bit farther, so. So this one's not bad. With the runaround that's over in this area, there's a runaround right there by Pro. So you could either pull out like we are doing and then back down and then pull in, or you can back out, pull down, and then back in, and that way you can go work those two industries. Either way, it works. It's fine. It's, you know, it doesn't really matter. It's just that I want to make sure that when I come back, you know, I'm backing down this lead, the yard lead, back into the yard. So I just make sure I put my cars, and then I'm on the far point, and I should be good. That way I can back out, pull up, and then back in, and I'll be good. All right, let's put the dispatcher. All right, there's a yellow right there. We got a yellow right there, so that way we are lined up as we're supposed to be, and we're not going to get onto the mains over there, but it's just going to stop them. So just one of those things, doing the right way, because once again, I'm on a server. I don't know if somebody's running a road train and coming down, and all of a sudden they're going to see, oh geez, he just dropped a red on me. Now I did have that experience. I want to talk on another server. I did have that experience, and it's like, you know, I'm in the channel, but no, you know, nobody's talking. They use TeamSpeak, and nobody's talking. Okay, so I'm working a yard thing like this, and I called up the dispatcher, and they gave me a light, and next thing I know, I'm getting yelled at because, I mean, gonna put some brakes on. That would help. You know, because, well, you dropped the light in front of me. I didn't flip it manually. I called the dispatcher. The dispatcher gave it to me. So the dispatcher dropped a light on you. Well, I was coming. You shouldn't drop the light on me. You know, like it's, okay, you know what you're telling me then is on this server, it's all about you. You know, and he's like, well, that's not what I'm saying. Okay, so what are you saying then? Because I did it the right way. I called up the dispatcher, and the dispatcher, he could have either told me, no, I have to wait because you're coming, or in this case, he gave me the priority. So, you know, and then he just wouldn't let it go. So I said, okay, fine. I stopped the train. I stopped my train, left it right, you know, blocking his main line, so he'd have to go deal with it. Signed out this off the server. Never went back. Oh, I missed the attach point. Never went back. So our servers we don't do that. It's SRS, it's not like that. Yeah, my servers were not like that. You know, you use dispatcher the way I'm doing it here, and if I'm coming down the main line and dispatcher drops a light in front of me, I'm obeying the dispatcher. It's not about me, okay? But I'm going to say this, the other side of it though too, and I've seen this on my servers. You have a red light for a reason. You know, the running joke is it's a drunken Otto. He's drunk. But the truth is, Otto does very well. He's very good. Okay, the AI dispatcher's very good. So, if you have a red light, it's for a reason. You don't need to tone Otto over and over and over and over and over. Okay, because he's not going to change his mind. If you have a red light, it's a reason. A lot of things in railroading is hurry up and wait. So, you know, and then, hey man, I've been sitting at this light. There's no trains coming. Nothing's lined over this. Auto's not giving me a red. All right. You reach out to an admin on that and go, what's going on? Admin, there are times because of people playing with auto the way they're not doing that, he gets confused and you have to reset him. Okay, sometimes that does happen. So, but that's not for you to do. That's for unless you're an admin. That's for an admin to do, or the server owner. This is a pretty big train. I hope I can get in there with this. I didn't realize that. Between this and DKE, man, that's like almost half of what I brought over here. All right, let's get some auto brake on. But all these things I said, yeah, I've been talking a lot about, you know, server etiquette and operational etiquette. Do not let that deter you from playing on multiplayer. If you do something that maybe should not have been done or could have been done a little bit differently, are you going to get coached? Yeah, you are. Okay. But you're not getting yelled at. You know, you'll know when you're yelled at. And if it gets to the point where you're yelled at, you're probably at that point going to be banned. Okay, because you're getting yelled at because you've done the same thing over and over and over again, and we've talked to you 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, you know, 3 strikes you're out, you know, and you're not learning. Go find someplace else to play. You're okay, go find someplace else to play. But if you want to come over here and you want to learn how to play on a server, to go to the Depot Plus, you know, or someplace else that where they do a check ride, we can help you get there. That's what we're about. We're a training group is what we are. So, all right. Yeah, get off the ground. I need to go straight. Because of the length of the train, I want to go straight. And once again, that should have been, in this situation, this one I like because it's protecting that industry. This one I didn't like because this is the way that you should come down, and if you have to do a roundaround, come around this way. And then if you miss it, you got a bumper straight ahead, so that switch and this one should have been set to normal, my opinion. So that way you're protecting industries. All right, we can get in here. It's not. I'm glad we had the room. I couldn't remember if we had the room or not. All right, passing the switch. I'm going to apply auto brake. Just about 10 pounds, 10 to 11 pounds, somewhere in there. Just enough to stop the train. How are we looking down here? Yeah, we can get past that. Okay. Alright, so we have, first up here is CPC. Let me go take a look. Free fly. The switch, I like this. It's protecting the industry. Alright, so CPC, we can fit all those in there. Just debating in my mind if I want to, I gotta pull that out first. So I guess I'm going to pull that out, stick it over here, back mine in, pull up, back the tanks into here. I could even, you know what, I could even do that too. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this better. I will do the runaround, back down I'm going to leave the box. I'll leave the reefers here. Back my tanks in because I'm dropping like 3 tanks, picking this one up, which is going to GATX as well too. Have that up against the locomotive, which I should actually have that one up against the locomotive. But it doesn't matter. Not really on a local. Road train, yes, but local, no. But anyway, either way, I'm going to do that, pull that out. That way it's already up against the locomotive. Then I can push the reefers down, grab this one, put it over there, put the reefers in place, grab that one, bring it back up, drop it on this track, do a runaround, hook up so the cars are on, on the back side of the locomotive, and then I can back in and grab Pro, and then I'll push back, and there we go. So that's my plan. So let's get on the ground. You have to be on a server. You got to be on the ground to flip the switch. So, all right. So we're on the ground. We're good there. This one's good. All right. Wait a minute. Hold on. Oh yeah, I'm doing a runaround. Never mind. I'm doing a runaround. I'm getting ahead of myself. Close the valve, open the coupler, disconnect, and we'll hit the F7 sheet on the other side. Because I don't want to well, yeah, it would be if I close that'd bottle the air on this, and I don't want to do that. All right. Okay, dead flat, we're good. 9.5, we're good. Yeah. Indicated track speed is 15 here, so I'm under 10. We're good. Okay, and then we're going to go backwards. I think that's green, so I need to get on the ground and run down there. It looked green from the locomotive. It's actually yellow as I get closer, so we're good there. I can see the points on the switch. Yep, they're lined up the way I want. This one needs to flip. All right. I have 20 minutes to finish this and get back to the yard. did F7 cheat. Let's go down here. That's good. This one needs to flip. Alright. Alright, so we're going to stand here and bail off the brake, release the handbrakes. Alright, here we come. So while he's coming down, same thing with this switch. So this switch was left open, so these cars are not protected. I brought that up because if you remember a while back, I don't know if you guys remember that kid that was, he was a YouTube influencer, I guess is the term you want to use. Basically, he made YouTube videos, train spotting, and he was supposedly at a grain elevator and just happened to catch a derail because a train was pushing in and slammed into some other cars. Well, somehow they have him on video going up to the switch and unlock. He got a hold of some keys, unlocked the switch, threw it so that the car that was sitting on the track, like this tanker here, was now exposed, and the train crew that works that every day was expecting, okay, we're going to be going into the empty track. We already know because it's locked in place. So kind of bad on the conductor for not checking the switch and keeping an eye on it. But in the same sense, though, the derail and the collision happened because all it took was one kid, oh look, I caught it, I caught a derail. Oh look, yeah. So no, he ended up big fine. I think he got some jail time. I don't remember what his final punishment was, but honestly, he should have gone, even if he was a juvenile. And with some of the stuff that's happening out there in the world right now, you know what? I mean, start charging juveniles and their parents. That's my thing. Nobody wants to be responsible for their actions anymore. Okay. Oh wait, I'm an idiot. I was trying to pull, and I forgot. I didn't reverse the locomotive, so I gotta go in reverse. There we go. Now it's gonna work. Closed and release coupler. All right. I make the mistakes, so you don't have to. We're gonna pull. See, I like it when these things are full. You can hear the compressor running for the air conditioning on the reefers. When they're empty, they're silent. Alright, we're going to flip that one. That one's already flipped, so we're going to go, I'm going to ride this one in. So, I did it again. I'm thinking reverse, but my locomotive is facing the different direction, so I have to go forward. I got to push these cars in instead of I'm pushing them in, going forward. Never mind. So over here, TMP, GAP, VCL, PET, those are all BNSF. They're serviced by BNSF. COP. A little closer than I like. But are all 3 cars on the, or all 4 cars on the industry track? Yes, they are. What about on this side? Are we too close? No, we're good enough. That's good. See, we have 4 cars that go in here, so I had to get that close. But if I had stopped the way I normally would have, this car would have been in the foul of this track over here. So, all right. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna hit the E-stop. That puts the reverser in neutral, locks down everything. I'm going to go ahead and close this, release that one, and we're going to push in to release the coupler tension. Alright, and then we'll reverse. I don't need you. I don't need you either. Release the brakes. The reverser. We'll leave this switch set the way it is, so that way it protects the cars that we just dropped. Switch. Okay, F7, release the handbrakes. Now we go down to this end. And push down here. I think we're going to do is it's kind of half of one and 6 of another. I can either go in, grab that one, pull it out, and stick it over here, or put the, I think I'm going to do that, or I can take these and put them down here, grab that, and then either way, I think the best is to grab this, pull it out, and then push these in. I think that's the most efficient way. Go to ground. Alright, I got a problem with the CPCs. It's purple, so I need to go take a look and see what's going on with that. I released the handbrake. And I hit the F7 sheet. At least I thought I did. I'm going to have to go back and watch the video. What's going on here? See that purple? There's a problem in this car. Dragging equipment. Fixed dragging equipment. It's fixed. Okay. So that's something that, you know, fixing it here, I happened to see the tag fix it. But if it had hung out there, it would have stayed out there. It doesn't fix itself. Hot axles will cool down. They'll fix themselves. But that would have gone over a detector on our road train, and it would have triggered that detector. If it was being manually driven, you'd have to stop your train and go find the car and fix it. Release the handbrake. Someone likes leaving them all open. All right. Hey, get back here. There we go. Get on board. Let's go back down. So, alright, we're going to push this in, then we're going to go and do our run around, you know, drop these cars, pick that one up, drop the tanker and that empty reefer, do a run around, grab those cars, hook up, and that's probably going to be the end of it for today. I'm looking at it. I mean, it's right now I got about 4 minutes to 10. I've been recording for a little over almost 3.5 hours, which is what I was expecting. I was expecting a little bit longer, but 3.5 hours, pretty good video. Let's go ahead and I want to start slowing this down. I'm pushing these down toward the bumper, but I'm, you know, doing my thing, trying to leave about a half a car length. But I'm doing that because that way and once again, on the other more realistic servers, they would, if there's doors, they even go so far as to line the doors of the cars up with the doors of the building. So once again, not that big of a deal. It's just what I do. The switches is kind of a big deal. That's what I've been talking about. Okay, so those are all down. This one is closed. Perfect. Okay, we'll leave that one closed. Close that one and pull the pin. Go in reverse. Pick up the reefer. Go back. Do the drop. We'll pick those cars up out of Pro. And now I'll be ready to go back to the yard. And then I'm going to go sign off here. We'll call it. I was hoping to finish this, but I knew better. I mean, honestly, when you have a full YLA51, it's an all day. It can take all day, and when they're sorted like this one is, so I appreciate whoever sorted it. But it's also when they're not sorted, and I did it on my single player, 3 days. It took 3 full days to do it, and I'm not not consecutive. I mean, it was like, okay, I'm stopping. I got things to do. But it was, okay, one day I'm going to get this done. No, okay, full 8-hour shift, and I'm still not done. And that's why it's kind of convinced me that I'm on my single player. Yeah, when I use Order Builder, it's, yeah, I'm going to leave it sorted by customer. Oh, I think I just got a notification that the person I was going to go roust up might be here. So I guess I'm going to connect and I'm going to call it here. So, but I think I got time off recording to do what I did and get back to the yard. So, all right, and F7G, release the brakes, go back in reverse, start pulling, bail off, run Forrest. All right, those are protecting the industry, good. Those are set out, good. And then come up here, and I want to go straight, and I'll run around down this track. And I'm going to try to drop these cars as close to this switch as possible. And that way I don't have to go in so far, pull out, and then it's just literally running back to the yard. But I think I need to pull these out, and then I got to do another run around. That's what it is. I got to drop these in the middle, more in the middle. Well, after I pick up So, all right, we'll bring this to a stop. I'm going to go ahead and close out this recording, and I will catch you next time. I'm going to try to see if I can get another one in. My intention is to do another one. I'll run a grain train um, from Bakersfield into Traver on the new DLC, so you guys can get a look at it, and we'll talk about the experiences of how that looks and what it's supposed to do. And I've yet to get a response back on the ticket to see if it's supposed to be just, hey, it's routing in so you run the train, or is it supposed to be an automatic stop? And I don't know. We'll discuss those. So, and what the options are. But anyway, I will catch you guys later. Have a good one. My name is Kurt H. That's Lazy Farmer. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Leave comments. I do read them. I'm excited when I get them. So I will talk to you guys later.